Okay, right. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, let's talk about Monster Hunter Outlanders. Okay, I've spent around 300 hours within the beta. Okay, so you don't have to, and there are plenty of things that I can talk about. So, yeah. But first, let's cover through the three most important main points of the game, I guess. Okay, but the Monster Hunter Outlanders itself. So, yeah. But yeah, we'll cover these 3 points. Okay, first being how close is it to the source material? Okay, the mainline Monster Hunter games, right? Okay, but so yeah. And second, does it give the same feeling as other Monster Hunter games? Because people know there is okay, the unique character system in the game. So yeah. But yeah, but does it give the same feeling as other Monster Hunter games or not? So yeah. And third, being a gacha, how much does the gacha system affect the gameplay? So yeah. But yeah, so there is that. Okay, but so first of all, okay, how close is it to the source material? Okay, the mainline Monster Hunter itself. So yeah. So in terms of gameplay, it's actually pretty identical to the Monster Hunter series. So yeah. But yeah, okay, the main difference is that it's usually confined to be a smaller space. Okay, it takes less time to do the hunt. There is lower time limit as well though. So there is that. But if you wanted something more challenging, right? There are also specific hunts that is going to okay to be more similar to the standard melee Monster Hunter. Okay, where the hunt will take longer, I guess. But yeah, but those are more of a high difficulty content, I guess. Okay, but so yeah. Okay, but with Monster Hunter Outlanders, okay, there are some unique changes still, just how every Monster Hunter has their own unique feature. Like for example, Wilds with a focus mode, a world with clutch claw, that kind of thing, right? So yeah, but the core gameplay of Monster Hunter Outlanders is still basically the same, which you make your build, hunt monsters, right? Get stronger build, rinse and repeat, something like that. So yeah. But the unique thing about this Monster Hunter is that you create your own party setup, so yep, and build the characters yourself as well. So it is part of where the character system comes in. Okay, but so yeah, so they this is these characters are something similar to support hunters, I guess. If you play Wilds, right? So or followers in sunbreak. Okay, but yeah, but in this one, you can customize them yourself. So you give them a specific builds. So if you want them to be more supportive, you can make them okay buff you buff you more DPS, more health, stuff like that. So, but yeah, and then you set up the comp based on that. So that's part of the unique part of it. So yeah. And on top of that, you can also play as those characters as well instead of just okay stick to your main character. So yeah. Of course, if you wanna play just your main character entirely solo without the support hunters, you can do that as well. Okay, it's all comes down to your choice. Okay, but so yeah, so to answer that, how close is it to the source material, the mainline Monster Hunter? It's basically pretty identical. So aside from it's okay, they trim down the fat basically. It's much more fast pace. Okay, and you play to basically hunt real quick and basically done with that. So yeah. But you still have the challenging content if you prefer it. So yeah. But yeah, and on to the second point. Okay, but does it give the same feeling as other Monster Hunter games? Okay, but so yeah, and in a way, yes. Okay, we do have the standard armor skills and set effect. Okay, all of this you craft yourself, just like a normal Monster Hunter games. No, you do not gacha the weapons, thank God. But there is that. So yep, you hunt monsters to get their materials and then craft their set, right? So, but yeah, you can hunt these monsters for the materials basically infinitely. So yep. So before you worry about limitation and stuff like that, right? No, there is no limit in the hunts, and you can just basically craft your entire set and build in one go. Okay, but so yeah, okay, so there is that part. So at the same time though, it does feel exactly like other Monster Hunter games, so you do have the artifact system as well. So, okay, this is a system that uses the RNG grind. So, for example, decoration in World, Artisan gear in Wilds, that kind of thing. We have it here as well. So, I guess they stay true to basically what mainline Monster Hunter is. Okay, but so yeah. Okay, and as usual with the artifact system, right? It's basically gonna be your last grind with the RNG rolling, where you spend most of your time, most of your end game, right? Trying to basically get the best RNG rolls you can get, I guess. But so yeah. Okay, but that's pretty much like how it is. Okay, something that's different though in this game is that the scaling goes like pretty crazy. Okay, and by that I meant like the damage increase between stacking the skills and the effect, like they go like pretty high. So yeah, which means big numbers, and people enjoy big numbers, right? So yeah. But the difference between like, let's say like, you know, okay, a starter gear and like later on like can be like pretty big, I guess. Okay, but so yeah, but that doesn't mean you can't clear content that's higher than your level. So there is that as well. You can still do it, but of course like with the lower time limit, right? As I explained like before, okay, the time limit's kinda like lower. So you need to do DPS properly, or else then you might run out of time. So there is that part. Okay, but so yeah. Okay, they don't really limit like the content you can do like by like gatekeeping because you're like lower like a gear or something like that. You can still do it even if you are like lower gear. So yeah, but because of the damage difference, right, you're gonna need to pull your DPS. So but yeah, so if you have the good if you have like good skill and like you have good DPS, right, then it won't be a problem for you. Okay, but so yeah, so that's like basically like does it give the same feeling like other Monster Hunter games? Okay, yes they do, maybe too much because honestly, like, people don't like artifact, right? But I guess we have it here as well, so it is what it is, I guess. Okay, but now to the last point, which is like the gacha system and how it affects the gameplay, right? So this is a bit more complicated. Okay, and the answer to answer that is both yes and no. So okay, first is that like you create your own character, right? So the character can use any weapon, have the same moveset as the standard Monster Hunter. Okay, and you can basically like just use this character. So there is that. Okay, but okay, like you use this character fully, don't even touch like the other characters, and that is like fine. So you can clear all content, no problem. And if you ignore the gacha system, then basically like you know, you have a standard Monster Hunter experience. Okay, with this basically like same like character. So, but yeah, so with that, right? Okay, does the gacha system affect the gameplay? No, it doesn't. Technically, it doesn't. So. But at the same time, okay, like you do have the gacha characters that have like they use the same weapon, like let's say heavy bowgun as well or bow as well, but they have unique movesets which gives you like different playstyle. So okay, if you ever play like a GU, Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, or like Sunbreak, right, then you'd be more familiar, okay, to like switch skills or hunting styles. So yeah, where like the moveset becomes different and you have basically different like playstyle even though it's the same like weapon. That's how the character like comes into play. So you can use these characters to basically experience same content with different playstyle. So it's similar to like if you play a different weapon, I guess. So the gacha basically affects your playstyle. Okay, but it's not necessary obviously because again, your main character can clear everything anyway. So yeah, but the thing is, some would enjoy the newer playstyle more than the one that you are familiar with because sometimes new stuff is more fun, right? Than like basically the same exact weapon you have played in the last 20 years. So there is that. Okay, so does the gacha system affect the gameplay? Yes and no. Okay, you don't need to like basically like be affected by it. Okay, and just stick to your main character and play it like it's a normal Monster Hunter. But at the same time, it can affect your gameplay if you decide you want a new approach into the game, I guess. So yeah, but the details for like the gacha system for it, right, and like the pay to win aspect of it, I guess. Okay, I'll cover that in like basically in different video instead. So, but yeah, because that one like will take like a little bit. Okay, but so yeah, another note is that like currently we are in beta, right? So yep, for this one, okay, but and we have access to like basically 6 weapons, along with like basically like plenty of characters that uses the 6 weapons with different like playstyle. So. But yeah, with 6 weapons means like some of your preferred weapons might not be there. Like for example, chargeblade isn't here yet, so yep, at least in the beta that is. But yeah, but we are basically guaranteed to get like every weapon. Okay, but it might take some time for them to like implement like okay these like weapons. So okay, but at the same time, I guess you can look forward to like the fact that like when they implement the weapon, okay, your main character will play like a normal Monster Hunter that uses that weapon. But they'll have a new character with a unique playstyle. So, yep, and who knows, maybe it will be more fun and it's something you enjoy. Or you prefer like the classic like playstyle and just stick to the main. Either way. Okay. So yeah, in any case, that basically covers like one of the few like main points like okay, like in Outlanders, I guess. Okay, and how similar or different it is to like basically a standard Monster Hunter. Okay, but so yeah. Okay, in any case though, okay, that covers the basic of the game and how it is compared to like other Monster Hunter. Okay, but yeah, for more details, like feel free to ask me more in person, okay, through my stream or comment section, okay, and I'll answer like best I can. So that's it for today, guys. Okay, but and I'll see you guys on the next one then.